The Federation's Pariah by Fauna Farrow. Why do I continue to wake up every day to such disaster? That's a question I linger on in the morning as I brew my coffee. Coffee's a human invention, and while I typically care little for their exports, coffee's one that provides me with a fleeting sense of joy. I have nothing against humans. I really don't have the energy to have anything against anyone anymore. I'm alone, poor, and now I'm getting old. Going through the motions is all I can do at this point. My work in the mines provide a sense of community, but work is not easy. The shared struggle of being a Frowlike creature, looked down upon, brings us together. I said I was alone, and while in my home that's true, this connection makes sure I never feel alone. Being alone and feeling alone are very different. I go outside and walk towards the Frowmover Express on the broken paths. The walk is pretty long, as Frowmovers aren't in abundance, so I have a lot of time to look at the land where I live. The sky is brighter than usual, but it's still a drab brown backdrop. I heard stories from my late grandfather about how the sky was bright orange before our planet was annexed into the UFCP. I think UFCP stands for Universal Federation of Collaborating Planets. Collaborating in this sense means taking everything and not asking for consent, of course. When we said no to joining the Federation, the leaders of the UFCP wiped us clean and left us with very little. They dropped chemicals on our planet to stunt our growth and make us an example for those who want to oppose their peaceful democratic federation. They are responsible for the land, my genes, and my stature. I stand a whopping 4 feet tall, and even at that I tower over my colleagues. The Dulcarians control the mechanics behind their machine of death, despite them now wanting other collaborating planets to feel like they have a say. But what can I do? Our planet doesn't even have representation in the governing body. The rule is you get 1 representative for every 500 million inhabitants. There are 120 million of us total. As I said, I just don't have the energy anymore to hold anyone to anything. All I can do is wait this out. Not waiting out the Federation, but my life. These are often the thoughts on my mind as I walk and arrive at the express station. A mover comes and I quickly walk into it. It's crowded, but this time I was lucky enough to find a seat. These are the little things we must cherish. My express trip to work is an hour, so the leg rest before work is very much appreciated. Scott, we got seats this time, Scott! I'm startled as I hear one of my coworkers from across the vehicle. Ah, Phil! You caught me off guard. Yeah, we did. You know, I've heard people have been getting sick in Hillpine. You know, the first stop of the route. I think a lot of workers are in hospital, and of course, that sucks, but it sure frees up some spots for the rest of us. Plus these lovely people who choose to stand despite free seats being available, saving seats for us. Wow, you guys are troopers. Thank you for your service. Phil gives a salute to the very unamused standing passengers. His energy is certainly annoying to some. He's one of those people that are hard to take in for long periods of time, but I don't mind him. I'm convinced his work on fume duty has made him a bit mad, but whatever causes him to be so positive can only be seen as a godsend in my eyes. Well, Phil, that's probably right, but I really need to catch up on sleep. Wake me when we arrive at work. Okay, yeah, it is pretty early. I get it. I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, I get tired sometimes too. I'll wake you up in an hour. I close my eyes, but I'm not really sleeping. At this point, the coffee has hit me, but closing my eyes to avoid conversation is what I feel is best. Not that I mind it, it's just that everyone else does. I don't blame them for feeling this way. I used to feel the same when I was younger. I had a chip on my shoulder, and the thought of anyone being happy in this terrible world would make me feel disgust towards them. I would have looked at Phil with much contempt. But as I become older, though, I realize that contempt comes from envy. I wish everyone the best, even if what we get is far from the best or even palatable. I look into the darkness of my closed eyelid and start to meditate, clearing my thoughts. Hey, Scott, we're here. Ready for another day in the mines? Not the greatest, and we all know that, but with coworkers like you, life only gets easier. Okay, I'm getting off now. Bye-bye. Phil runs off before I even get the chance to speak. He works above ground, so we don't typically speak much during the workday. I do pass him on occasion, but not often. I walk off the mover with a horde of my coworkers and head to the station in the Plork mines. Plork has become very useful within the Federation, as it's one of the main components in translation patches. Translation patches are these neat pieces of software you patch onto your ear, and it translates other languages to your native tongue. Of course, this is technology that doesn't matter much to our planet, as we're often isolated from other systems and groups in the Federation. But they're neat. I guess Frowlikes who work in shipping use them a lot. I have one, but I often don't even wear it. I've rarely interacted with foreigners in my years, only on about a dozen occasions. Those times were mainly concentrated in my youth when people from other systems would come and give us aid. They don't really do that anymore. I mainly only wear it when I watch TV programs from other systems. I reach the check-in screen at the front of the mine and clock in before I head deep into the dark caverns. The mine walls are tight, dingy, and gray. There are flames lit that are hung up on the wall for lighting, but it's still very dark. Each worker is given a zone to dig from, and as you go deeper, you see strips of empty space where the workers have mined and continue to mine. As I plunge further in, I hear a common folk song sung by the workers. Dulcarians and Aryans, they like to keep us weak. Plunging down more and more, they take us all for freaks. If we're freaks, then so it be, we'll slave the day away. Won't sell our souls, okay? 'Cause that's the Frowlike way. The Anarians were the second member of the UFCP, but their story is very different from ours. They peacefully acclimated to the Federation and in turn received special treatment. Nowadays, there are more groups in the UFCP, but this song has roots to the annexation where there were only 3 systems in the Federation. Don't get it twisted. The Dulcarians are still very much in power. They just didn't carpet bomb the other systems with unknown chemicals like they did to ours. I walk down to my zone and start digging to fill my cart with plork. I pick away until I get 10 pounds of the stuff. Sometimes I get lucky and finish in a few hours, but most of the time it takes a good 9 hours to reach the quota. As I pick away, it seems like today's going to be a lucky day. Plork keeps popping up in my section, and I mine it deeper and deeper. I, of course, can't simply manage my social needs from folk songs, so I often try to engage in conversation with others near my section. I look over and talk to a young girl named Rox, stationed next to me. Hey Rox, how's the cave been treating you this morning? Oh, it's just atrocious. I've been here for 2 hours and all I've gotten is about 1 pound. At this rate, I'll be here all night. I give her an understanding look and softly say, yeah, I've been there. Really sucks. I hope you get better luck soon. Thank you, Scott, she says while looking away. Her body language indicates she doesn't feel like talking, so with that, I leave her be. Rox is a pretty lady, albeit dirty in the mines. Not that I have romantic interest or anything. I'm far too old to mess around with a 20-something, but her beauty is enjoyable to look at in a place that's so ugly. As I continue to mine, whatever god that exists must be smiling on me today. Plork after plork after plork after plork. I have the Midas touch, it appears. After about 3 hours, I'm already done with my cart filled to completion. I look over to Rox, who has less than half of her cart full. Here, Rox, take this. I put about a pound of plork into her cart to make your life a little easier. While this means I still have to work to get my last pound, sometimes you have to help others to make life manageable in this place. Rox looked at me with much gratitude. Thank you very much, Scott. That was very kind. Yep, don't mention it. I turned back to my station to get the last pound of plork again, which with my luck today didn't take very long. With my cart full, I went to weigh it in at the automated scale. 10.23 pounds. Good job, Scott. You may now clock out. The balance of 0.57 pounds will be added to your next shift, the automated voice scratched out. I always try to go a bit over 10 so I can afford a day off. Plus, it's a major hassle to go up the scale just to realize you don't have enough. I'd rather not deal with that. I put my cart away and head back to the express stop. I have to wait a little bit for a mover, but the mover eventually comes and I hop in. There aren't as many people on this mover as on the morning commute, so I easily get a seat. I gaze out the window and see Phil working in the fume department. He seems quite invested in his work. The mover starts to leave and I'm on my way home. It's still an hour ride, but my mind has gotten accustomed to making the time pass quickly. Gallagher Station. Next stop, Merryweather, the PA system blurts out. I get off and take my walk back home on the broken pathways I'm so used to. The coffee is worn off at this point and I feel a crash coming. Typically, I'll go to the shop near the mine and buy a coffee, but since I finished so early, I have no need to do that. With each step, my body wavers, but the determination to jump on my bed keeps me strong. Each step brings me closer to the end of the day, the thing I so often yearn for. I'll wake up early going to bed like this in the afternoon, but I can spend those early waking hours how I please. There's actually this show I've been watching made by some Avarians, which are the most recent system in the Federation, that's quite enjoyable. Avarians can fly, and in the show, the Avarian host goes over beautiful spots within their system. It's much better looking than the planet, that's for sure. Granted, it's basically tourist propaganda to get people to come to their system, but it brings me a bit of joy. I take my last steps outside and finally walk into my home. There, I see my bed waiting with an aura surrounding it. I can't control myself. I jump into it and enjoy the euphoric sensations of rest. Moments like these must be cherished, as there aren't many moments to cherish in a world like this.